أعوذ بالله السميع العليم من شر الشيطان اللعين الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين، واللعنة الدائمة الأبدية على أعدائهم أجمعين إلى قيام يوم الدين. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. السلام عليكم my beloved ones ورحمة الله وبركاته. So we are going to now do the Q&A session of the final stage, which is the final ibadah in Mina, which is the pelting or stoning the three pillars, small, medium, large, in such sequence: small, medium, large. 11th Dhul Hajj and 12th. 13th is required for those who have violated two prohibitions of ihram, having private relations during the ihram with their spouse, and hunting. And also if those people who did not evacuate Mina 12 and the sun set on them, then they have to complete the eve of 13th and pelt the day of 13th 3 stones, and then they can evacuate. However, let's see what are the questions related to stoning the three pillars of shaitan. So question number 1: if someone messes up with the sequence, if someone disrupts in the sequence or messes up with the sequence, like we said, small, medium, large. Okay, it has to be first the small, then the medium, then the large, the Aqaba. Remember the one which was stoned on the day of Eid only? That one is at the end, last. And then you have Makkah, border of Makkah. So and he disrupts he disrupts the sequence, and after 2 days or more he remembers or realizes. Okay, and this was unintentional disruption in the sequence of stoning the pillars of three pillars of shaitan, and after 2 days realizing, or 2 days or more realizing. So what will be the ruling of this person? The answer is, let me just go back to the answer. Yeah. Where did he go? Okay. So he says the answer is the same. The ruling of this person is the same ruling of the one who forgot. Okay. Who forgot to stone the middle pillar of the shaitan and Jamrat al-Aqaba. So what happens here? He did the first one, he did the last or the second before the first one. So the first, second, third, small, medium, large. So he pelted the second or the third before the first. So he says the ruling is same. Somebody pelted number 1 and did not pelt number 2 and number 3, because the sequence got disrupted. That means whatever he pelted, which was supposed to be in its original sequence, is only going to be correct. The ones which have been gone back forth, they are going to be invalid. Okay, so he should bring them, perform them in sequence whenever he remembers or realizes, based on the ruling number 434 and 435. So if you recall, ruling number 434 was that if somebody does not perform them, okay, out of forgetfulness or unawareness, not knowing that the stoning these 3 pillars are obligatory, then he needs to do qada. When? On the 13th. And the same ruling is for the one who did intentionally did not perform it. So he has to do the qada on the basis of obligatory precaution. So let's say you have some you need to stone on 13th, and some you have to do qada. Which one should you do before? So he said that qada needs to be done before the ongoing, the one which you have to do today. Just do the qada first, okay? And that was the ruling. So qada is done before the ada. What if he remembers them after he leaves Makkah? Okay, then it is obligatory upon him to come back to Makkah and stone those pillars. If if whatever was forgotten or unperformed was the Rami of 2 days, even the third day on the basis of obligatory precaution. Okay, so if I miss out 3 days of Rami, he says when you do qada, you need to do the first day's Rami first, and then you do the second day. So small, medium, large, that come back, small, medium, large, then come back, small, medium, large. If you had to do 13th as well. So, but the thing is, you cannot do small for day one, small for day two, small for no. You have to go in that sequence. Okay, and you have to separate them for some time, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes of gap. Not just obviously when you stone the small one and the medium and large, and you come back all the way from Jamrat al-Aqaba, yeah, you have a gap. I mean, you are not connect, blink your eye here, blink your eye or there, but still, I mean, when you come back to the small one, the first one, give some break, like 5-10 minutes before you start, so that that gap is there between the qada, the qada of the first day, qada of the second day. So what if somebody leaves Makkah and uh, he realizes after leaving Makkah that he forgot? Okay, so he says that uh, it is not obligatory to come back to Makkah uh, to perform it. وإذا ذكره أو علم به بعد خروجه من مكة لم يجب عليه الرجوع لتداركه. So what is the difference? Before he said it is obligatory upon him to return to Mina. Um, so the first one is من ترك رمي الجمال نسيانا أو جهلا فذكره أو علم به في مكة. Okay, that one he realizes in Makkah. It's obligatory if he remembers or realizes or becomes aware in Makkah, then it's obligatory upon him to come back to Mina, because Mina is just like 10 minutes or half an hour of walk. Okay, the minimum distance, I'm telling you, maybe 20 minutes if you come from Aziziyah. So come back to Mina. That is if you remember in Makkah. What if you exit Makkah? So he said that if you exit Makkah, you don't have to come back in Mina to stone them. It's recommended precaution to do the qada of it in the upcoming year, next year, by himself if he goes there in Hajj, or by his representative. He can appoint someone who to represent him. So these are all unintentional. Okay, forgetfulness, unawareness. However, if it was intentional, kiss your Hajj goodbye. And no, I'm sorry. If it was intentional, the Hajj will not be invalid. whoever does not do the Rami intentionally, then the Hajj will not be invalid. However, here it will be obligatory precautionary on him to come back next year. So the difference between intentional and unintentional, his Hajj will not be invalid in both cases. But in the first case, it is not obligatory upon him to, if he leaves Makkah, to perform it by himself or by a representative next year. It's recommended precaution because he forgot or he was unaware. It was not intentional. However, if the difference is that in the intentional case, his Hajj will not be invalid. So he can not kiss the Hajj goodbye. Sorry, it came out accidentally. So, lam yabtul Hajju. However, obligatory precaution is to make it up. So now we understand the ruling of somebody who does not perform the Rami. If it was intentionally, deliberately not done in the days of Tashriq, then his Hajj will not be invalid. However, obligatory precaution next year in the days of Tashriq, he needs to do it by himself. He goes Hajj again. He needs to do Qadha, or he appoints someone to help him out and stone those on his behalf. So it's an obligation pending, not affecting the validation of the Hajj. But if somebody had forgotten out of unawareness, all those kind of things, then he doesn't have to come back if he leaves Makkah. If he was in Mina, yes, he has to come back. But if he left Makkah, then if he was in Makkah, he has to come back to Mina. If he left Makkah, then it's a recommended precaution to do that. So this is what is related to the ruling number, question number 1, that if somebody disrupts, then what should he do? He should go back to Mina and fix it, okay? If it was intentional or unintentional. In both cases, if he's in Makkah, he has to go in Mina and fix it, do it again. And if he left Makkah, then we said for the unintentional, recommended precaution to do it next year, or for intentional, obligatory precaution. Okay. Question number 2. So let's say the stoning, question number 2 says, he says stoning according to the sequence required by Islamic law. Okay. So he did the 3. He did the 3 in sequence. But the sequence he did was opposite. Instead of first, second, third, he went to third, second, first. Instead of small, medium, large, he went to large, medium, small. So it was not intentionally, deliberately. He thought that the sequence is flipped. Instead of starting from small, he started. So he says, whoever stoned the 3 pillars according to the sequence, which he thought that what was required was to stone from big to small, big, medium, small, like flip of the tartib. So if he does that, what would be his ruling? There's no problem on him. So he did in a sequence. So what's the difference between the previous and this one? The previous one, the second was done before the first, and the last was done before the the second, and it was messed up, disruption in tartib. Here he did the tartib, but the tartib was opposite. The sequence was opposite, flipped. So this was the second second question. He did the tartib. He believed that he is required to do religiously tartib, and he thought that religious sequence is from big, small to big, medium to small. So he says there is no problem in that. Obviously, because he thought, that means he was unaware, out of unawareness about the tartib. If someone, after uh, completing the tartib, after completing the stoning, he realizes yaqinan, he became assured that one of the jamra was missed, one of the pillars was missed. So what is his ruling? So if someone, after completing the stoning and returning to his house, uh, realized that one of the pillars were missed, so what is his responsibility? He said if he realized before the sunset, then obviously it would be obligatory upon him to go back and stone them in the sequence required. However, if he realized that after the time ended, remember the time of stoning is from the sunrise to sunset. So if after sunset he realized, then it's okay. He can just uh, stone the one which was missed on the second day. The question is different than the answer. The question, I think it must be typo or something. Like yesterday, that when I said I'm going to ask, so I just asked one of our colleagues. He said one is obligatory precaution, one is recommended precaution. So in a ruling, if you go back, so there's no conflict in that ruling. So in the one case, it's recommended precaution. The other case, it's obligatory precaution. Other ruling. I mean, there are two cases we mentioned. I'm going to come back to it later on. So let me just complete this and we'll go back to that ruling. Not to mix up the wires. So focus with me. The question says, إذا تيقن بعد الفراغ من الرمي. If he realized, became assured that after he completed the stoning and he came back to his home, أنه ترك رمي جمرة ما, that he left one of the jamra. So what should he do? Answer: إذا علم بذلك قبل غروب الشمس وجب عليه الرجوع. If he realized after the sunset, before the sunset, it would be obligatory upon him to return and to stone all of them according to the sequence. Okay. So in this case, if the middle one was missed, then he will do the middle and the aqaba, because aqaba he did the big one, but he forgot middle. And if he had forgotten the small one, then he has to do small, medium, large. And if he had forgotten only aqaba, then he has to do only aqaba. So the answer is like this. So the question was any of them. The answer is about Jamrat al-Aqaba. وأما إذا علم بذلك بعد فوات الوقت. After the sunset, he realized. So he can do qada next day. بعد فوات كفاه أن يقضي جمرة العقبة في اليوم اللاحق. It would be sufficient for that person to do the qada of the bigger, the large stone, large pillar on it will be sufficient. So either it is ruling that you don't know which one was missed, then just pelt the Jamrat al-Aqaba. That's it. Okay, if you don't know first, second, third, just do the third. I so it's like that. Or no, he knew. So in case of he knew which one was missed, in the previous ruling, he mentioned according to the sequence, he needs to do qada, regardless of which one was missed. So if the second one was, if the first one was missed, he has to do all. If the second one was missed, then he has to do second and third. If the third one was missed, it is sufficient to do the third one. But here the question is, he realized one of them. Which one? He doesn't know. This is the question. Um, so it should be like one of them was missed, but he does not know which one. So he goes back, okay, before the sunset, he does all of them. After the sunset, he will it will be sufficient for him to just stone the big one on the next day, qada. So the question is, the question indicates that there is no specification which one. I don't know which one. There was ilm ijmali. I don't know which one. One of them. Taraka rami jamratin ma. The answer is kafahu an yaqdi rami jamrat al-aqaba. Okay. So before sunset, strike them all. After sunset, next day, just do Aqaba. If it was middle left, it was the first left, it was Aqaba left, it will be sufficient to stone the Aqaba. Now that fits the scenario properly. Otherwise, if you know that it was middle, you can't just do Jamrat al-Aqaba. If you do it was first, no. It is you don't know which one. Okay, finish. Just stone Jamrat al-Aqaba. And here also there's a qaida usuliyya. Okay. So I am yaqeen that two were stoned. But which one? I don't know. First one, second one, third one. So just do the two. Since you know that you have done do two, so just do the first, just consider the first and second done, and the doubt befalls on the third one. So just do the third one. Okay, these are some of the rulings of doubts which are in certain ilm al-ijmali, unspecified knowledge. So there is knowledge that two were done out of three, but doesn't know which one was the one or third one which he missed. Was it the first, second, third? So we say, let's consider yaqinan you hit two. That means you started the sequence, and the last one was we'll consider was missed. Anyhow, that we'll discuss further in Ilm al-Usul. Question number 4. Is it permissible for women and sick one and so on, the elderly and weak one and all those who cannot stone in that heavy crowd, that they is it permissible for them to strike these pillars or stone them in the night of 11th, eve of 11th, and on the day of Eid? When night falls, they do it. Or the eve of 12th. Why? Because the day, all the Muslims, Shias and Sunnis and all the Muslims, they stone in the daytime. The followers of Ahlul Bayt from the time of sunrise till sunset. School of companion from Dhuhr till sunset, majority, because some of them, they gave some exemptions. Sorry. So can these people do at night? He says the narration has been narrated for the first night, like when they come from Muzdalifah, they pelt Jamrat al-Aqaba, because Jamrat al-Aqaba, every Muslim does it from sunrise. So that was the dead zone on the day of first day of Eid. Okay, that's that. So that exemption is there. He says, "Anna jawaz al-rami laylan," uh, to stone the pillars at night, the permissibility other than the Jamratul Aqaba, other than the big shaitan, big pillar of the shaitan. Other than that, that is, you are excused. You're not as long as you fall under these categories. Week 1 women, even if you can go in the morning, okay, um, you can pelt. This has some flexibility. The eve of 10th, eve of Eid, when they come from Muzdalifah. Remember, they evacuate Muzdalifah earlier. They come to Jamrat al-Aqaba, they pelt, and they go to their tent or go to Makkah. So other than this night, other than Laylatul Eid, other than eve of Eid, other than Jamrat al-Aqaba, eve of Eid, the other nights, it is specific only at pelting on night, stoning at night, okay? Specific only for those who are unable, who have excuses, who are unable to stay in Mina, the amount which is required for them to to stone the pillars in the daytime, okay? So if there is any time in the day from the sunset till from the sunrise till sunset, they can do it. Many times before sunset is almost empty, before 2 hours, because everybody's done with them, with the pelting. So it's almost empty, so they can do it. So this was once upon a time, okay? And especially Jamrat al-Aqaba, because it's like the whole day people are going and coming, because all the Muslims, they have to stone this. So some are coming late from Muzdalifah. So it's packed. So you barely, maybe in the before the sunset on eve of 11th, you have time to do that. So he said that Jamratul Aqaba, yes. Other than Jamratul Aqaba, it is for those people who are pardoned, who have who have excuse preventing them from staying in Mina, even that amount of time which is required to pelt, to stone the 3 pillars. So it's not about crowd, okay? It's not about the crowd. It's about the time. I mean, the ability to stay in Mina, that amount of time. So coming to Mina, let's say somebody was on a wheelchair, bringing him to Mina can become very hectic. You see, the wheelchair access, now they have made a few, but it's not like entire Mina. Inshallah, they will make it entire Mina. So those who have special needs, they might not be able to stay in Mina, okay, with their special needs. So so he says that 11th and 12th exemption from stoning in the daytime is only if they are unable to stay in Mina the amount of time required to stone the 3 pillars in Mina, such as somebody who fears severe harm, or the shepherd, his sheep might get stolen, or a servant, or women, or weak ones, or sick ones, and so on. Okay? A servant who doesn't know anything, he might get lost. وَنَحْوِهِمْ مِمَّا لَا يَتَيَسَّرْ لَهُمُ الرَّمِي. These people, it might not be easy for them That would be feasible for them to stone in the daytime due to the heavy crowd. Other than these categories, if they cannot, okay, لكثرة الزحام أو لغيرها, or whatever reasons. So what should they do? These reasons or whatever reasons um, does not allow them, there's no feasibility for them. It's not easy for them to do the stoning. So can they stone at night, Sayyidina? He says no. If they can't in the daytime, then they will ask someone to represent them on their behalf to stone it in the daytime. So there is a peculiarity of stoning in the daytime, because the exemption of night is only for Jamrat al-Aqaba. So here, someone can do on their behalf in the daytime. Even though it's recommended precaution for them to do at night and to let somebody do on their behalf daytime. Okay, so this is the thing, that the daytime is necessary. If they cannot, representative and recommended precaution, let them do at night as well. And it's all about management. If if caravan leaders, they know what is the time where, because I remember when we used to go for Hajj, uh, the caravan, the management, they will take the women sometime 1 or 2 hours before the sunset, where it's almost empty, you see, uh, to stone the. Now, if everybody starts thinking like you, then you will see the whole crowd at that time. So it's better the management checks out, send somebody, call me if it is empty, and calls, okay, come, it's empty, bring them, bring the women, elderly, weak ones, sick ones, okay, and so on. Let them stone. Yes, if they don't have ability, like the weak one, like if the weak one tries to stone, like it falls like that, then obviously that's an excuse that he cannot stone. Then obviously representative will stone, okay. Or let's say if a sick one also, he does like this, like he's going to shoot a cannonball, it falls like that. Obviously he's a weak guy, he can't like shoot like that. So therefore, uh, sick one, weak one, women, I mean, they thought, oh, I mean, we can beat better than you. Okay, sorry, then Bismillah. Okay, so why didn't you bring us in the crowd? Well, we don't want you get to be squeezed and touched in between men and those kind of things, you see. So that's why now you are just knock down the wall if you want to, but do, if you want to do it, just do it. But so weak one, sick one, women, elderly, men and women, all those kind of categories, or those who are afraid, so they have their they can come in that ease time. If that ease time is also packed, then they can give niyabat, but it needs to be before sunset. And it's recommended precaution that if they are going to give representative, and if night there's nobody, then they should do night and that. But as I said before, night it's almost becomes very less crowd. Only few women, like those who follow these masail and ahkam, they will come there. Okay, question number 5. They said that when you said it is not sufficient, uh, eve of 11th and 12th for the women to, is it ihtiyat, obligatory precaution, or fatwa? He said, no, it's fatwa. The question number 4, okay, the question number 5 says that's fatwa, it's not ihtiyat wajib, okay? Like it needs to be in daytime. If they can't, then someone can do on their behalf, and it's recommended precaution for them to, if they can night by themselves and day, they can't, then representative day is must. recommended precaution is to add night by themselves as well. Question number 6. Whoever must perform qada, makeup, okay, of the 3, as we said, he forgot, then he cannot do it on the days of Tashriq. That means 11th, 12th, and 13th. But he can do in other times because it's empty. So can he do it other times? Okay, other than Ayyam al-Tashriq. That means after the Ayyam al-Tashriq, nobody is there. No, he says no. These are specific days narrated, specific time narrated from sunrise till sunset, and 10th, 11th, 12th, and 13th. Okay? These are the days you need to. If you can't do it this year and you did not do it this year, upcoming year by yourself or representative. So he said if he was not able to do Ayyam al-Tashriq, it will be obligatory upon him to do the qada on those specific days or represent someone to do it on your behalf. Yeah. Peculiarity of those days, specific days. Out of those days, no. It's like Zakat al-Fitra. Zakat al-Fitra is specific time. If Salat al-Eid is gone, it's no more Zakat al-Fitra. If you have not isolated it, you're just going to take out Zakat al-Fitra, then that is not Zakat al-Fitra. Or let's say you did not pray Salat al-Eid. You have noon, till noon you have time. So if you take out before, it's Zakat al-Fitra. After Dhuhr, it's not Zakat al-Fitra. If you have isolated it before, then later on you give, that something else. Isolation is important. If you did not isolate your Zakat al-Fitra before Salat al-Dhuhr, it is not considered Zakat al-Fitra. Okay? It is not considered Zakat al-Fitra. So, okay. Question number 7. So now, again, disruption. So most of the questions are about disruption, because the ruling of the pelting, the stones and conditions of the stone we mentioned when we were discussing Jamrat al-Aqaba, the one which is, so the same ruling apply regards to stone and the size of the stone and the obligations of the stone and the pelting, that the way method of, all these are done. So here the main issue is the disruption in tartib, or stoning at night and stoning on day. So you will see most of our rulings will be around that. So question number 7. If someone disrupted in Jamrat al-Aqaba on the day of Eid, so what happens? On the day of Eid, he stoned the 3 of them, small, medium, large. And on the day of 11th, so إذا وقع خلل في رمي جمرة العقبة في يوم العيد ورمي الجمار الثلاثة في اليوم ال11. So there was a disruption in the rami of the big pillar of shaitan on the day of Eid, and there was a disruption on the 11th stoning of the. He says that you mentioned, Sayyidina, that he needs to make up all on the 12th of Dhul Hajj, Ayyam al-Tashriq. So here are 2 questions. What would be the intention, ada or qada? Obviously, you missed the specific day. Like if you miss Salat al-Ayat, the Salat of the eclipse, solar and lunar eclipse, on that specific day, next day you want to do it, or after it's gone, you will do it with the intention of qada. The time is gone. If there is any ibadah, any worship, it has a specific time and specific location, specific place and specific days. You do miss those days, then you do qada. You miss that time, You do qada. So the thing is that the intention would be qada on the basis of obligatory precaution. He's going to do Jamrat al-Aqaba and he's going to do small, medium, large of the 11th. وهل يجب الفصل بين القضاء والأداء وما مقداره؟ And 12, he has to stone the 12th Dhul Hajj. That's his ongoing, onset obligation. But then he has to do Jamrat al-Aqaba, and then he has to do 11th Dhul Hajj stoning. So he has to start with Jamrat al-Aqaba qada, leave a gap, then small, medium, large qada of 11th, leave a gap, then do the ongoing or onset of 12th. So he says that the question number 2 is leaving a gap obligatory, and how much gap should one leave? He says yes, on the basis of obligatory precaution, leaving a gap is obligatory as a precautionary measure, obligatory precaution. And it is sufficient to leave a small gap, part of some specific, a small amount of time, doesn't need to be big time. So like as I said, 5-10 minutes would be sufficient in general, because he has not mentioned any specific time, and they keep it on the common consideration. So if a commonly observer, they see you that you're waiting until for a few minutes until you go back to the battlefield and starts stoning the pillar of the shaitan, you gave some time. It's not you come from Jamratul Aqaba and start stoning, and then you go back and then you come from Jamratul and you start stoning. No, it gives some gap in a way that if somebody sees you, what are you doing? I'm giving some gap, just not to start immediately to stone the ongoing. Just I want to leave some gap between qada and ada. If someone asks you, nobody will ask you, but hypothetically, if someone asks you, you can tell them I'm leaving some gap, because you are leaving some gap. Okay. Question number 8. If it was obligatory upon him to stone the 12th Dhul Hajj, okay, to make up the stoning of Jamrat al-Aqaba, it's similar to the previous question. And this is as I mentioned, um, yeah, as I mentioned, in general, you cannot stone the first days and the second day small, and then go to the second pillar first day and second day, and the third pillar first day and second day. So some scholars in general, they say just do the whole sequence and then after that. Here, for Sayyidi Sistani Damadullah, he allows that. Okay, he allows to you to first 11th qada and then 12th ada for the small one, then the medium one, small medium one, 11th qada, 7 stones, and then 7 stones, but leave gap. The main thing is he needs that gap. Okay, so the gap is very important, not to mix up. So the question is, this was the gist. How should he stone? Can he stone like first Jamrat al-Aqaba of the Eid day, and then this small one, and if the 11th, and then the 12th, and then he goes to the 11th and the 12th medium, then he goes to like that, or he has to do on one go? So he says, no, Jamrat al-Aqaba needs to be stoned first, qada of Jamrat al-Aqaba. Okay, needs to be stoned first. And then for the other 2 days, like 11th and 12th, stoning the three pillars, there are two sequences. Sequence number one, or two methods. Two methods. Method number one, to stone small, medium, large of 11th qada, leave a gap, then to do the ada ongoing of 12th, small, medium, large, with leaving a gap between the ada and the qada. Okay, so you did 3 of 11th, leave a gap, then you do 3 of that. So Jamrat al-Aqaba needs to be done separately, then you leave a gap, then small, medium, large, then small, medium, large of 12. This is one method. Another method, he says, the way some scholars do not support this. So check with your marja. Is pelt the small Jamrat al-Aqaba separate. After that, you start with the small of with the intention of 11th. 11th. Qada. Leave a gap. Then you start pelting the 7th of 12. Move to the next one. Pelt the 11th. Qada, medium one. Leave a gap. Then Ada. Then go to Jamrat al-Aqaba. Medium one. Jamrat al-Aqaba for the 11th. Leave a gap. Then Ada for the 12th. Okay. So can't I leave Jamrat al-Aqaba with all the Jamrat al-Aqaba? No. No. Jamrat al-Aqaba needs to be done first. Don't leave Jamrat al-Aqaba with this Jamrat al-Aqaba of 11th and Jamrat al-Aqaba of 12th. No. Do Jamrat al-Aqaba first, leave a gap, then start small, medium, large, small, medium, large, or small, small, medium, medium, large, large. That don't put the large of day of Eid with the large of the 11th and 12th. That's what he says. Separate Jamrat al-Aqaba and don't put them in this sequence. So he says, يرمي جمرة العقبة قضاء لليوم العاشر أولا. That needs to. And after that, he says that the 11th 3 stoning qada and the makeup of the 11th 3 pillar stoning of the 3 pillars and the 12th onset stoning of the 3 pillars. There are two methods. Number one, it is strike them in the sequence. First finish the qada of small, medium, large of 11th, and then do the qada of the do the onset or ongoing of the 12th Dhul-Hajj. Or the second method is to small, small, medium, medium, and aqaba, aqaba. So this was the question. I did not read the question because it's very lengthy, but just mention the gist of the question, that can I just do the all same category together or separated? Okay. So we said Jamratul Aqaba needs to be separated. The rest, you have two methods. Okay. We come to the question number 9. And we mentioned this thing. It's all about staying the whole day in Mina. However, to wait until there's some time so that they can go and stone the pillars. So he says, is it obligatory upon men and women? Women and elderly men to stay the whole day beside the pillars, waiting for the specific time to stone them, or the fear inside their heart, the initial fear from the crowd, is sufficient for them to give representation. He says it is not obligatory, the answer. It is not obligatory upon them to stay the whole day. Okay? there in Mina, beside the pillars. They can choose to go to the least crowd, the time which is in which the crowd is less. As I mentioned, most of them, they take them before the sunset, 2 hours, you see, so they can find some room. So so if they are able to stone by themselves, then they have to do that. Otherwise, they will give representation. So this is the thing. However, if they realized that the crowd was removed after the stoning was done, if they realized that the crowd became less or there was no crowd anymore, in a way that they are able to do by themselves. So after the representative stoned, remember, they have to peculiarity, but because they cannot, the representative does it. So if they come, if they realize after the representative has done that the crowd is gone and they are able to come back, see, able to come back to perform, to stone, then it would be obligatory upon them to come in that time where the crowd has decreased, to do by themselves. What about the gender thing? Once I say gender, everybody opens the ears and the eyes and the nose. So is the gender correspondence required in the representative? That means if the male is unable to, elderly men or sick ones, their male gender, can their female, can someone who's female, let's say for wife, sister, or let's say they're the super mother, okay, they can, and don't be surprised, I see elderly women, mashallah, they're more stronger than than men. I mean, they will strike you. Oh, what? Yeah, they will find their way. So that's the thing, that these elderly women sometimes are more stronger than any men. So let's say if someone was sick or cannot, and he has to appoint a representative, and the representative was opposite gender. Okay, so is it going to be okay, or no? It needs to be a gender corresponding. And there's a follow-up question. Okay, so is it obligatory to correspond, the gender correspond is the correspondence of gender obligatory, in the representation of stoning? And if a man was representing a woman, and women, they can stone at night, Jamrat al-Aqaba we are talking. Other stones, we said that no, in the daytime, it's only if they are not able to find a gap in the daytime, okay, then they can do it at night. So if a guy is representing a woman, can he stone at night? He said that it is because some other maraja, they allow women to stone at night, even in the 11th and 12th, eve of 11th and 12th. He says no, gender correspondence is not obligatory. However, if a man represents a woman, okay, uh, then she has to, no, if a man represents a woman, then she has to stone in the daytime. Okay, that is clear. She's representing a guy, like that super mother or super sister, super daughter, super wife. They can just go inside that crowd and beat the hell out of the crowd, and just knock the wall down, and they come out victoriously. Anyhow, so can he said that she has to do in the daytime because the responsibility of the guy is daytime. That is, and what about the opposite? That is, if we allow women to stone at night, which we do not, it's a problematic. Okay, we do not allow. So that is out of the question. Remember, in the daytime, if women cannot they represent it. They represent. Nighttime is only for Jamrat al-Aqaba, the first eve of Eid, like after Muzdalifah. Yeah. Question number 11. If um, yeah, so let's say somebody gives representation to someone, but he wants to try as well. Okay, he says, let me also do, in case if like if I'm stoning and it falls down like this, you see, then alhamdulillah, you're naib, you did it. Where did this go? Okay. Okay, so they both, the naibs, the one who is obligated, he said, I want to also do, elderly women, whatever. But naib is like a precautionary measure in case if their weakness does not allow them, or something happens. So إذا استنابه حاج في رمي الجمار الثلاثة وأراد الرمي لنفسه أيضا, if someone appoints someone to stone on his behalf due to the circumstances you mentioned, uh, and he also wanted to stone. So should he be stoning on behalf of himself first, and after he completes, then he tells the naib to, then he comes back and tells the naib, now shoot on my behalf, okay, stone on my behalf. um, it's the opposite. It's not that sin, that ruling is coming. This ruling is about someone, he has been asked to represent like women and elderly. Okay, women and elderly, or those who are excused, they can't, they requested him to stone. Now he has to stone also. So what can he, um, should he be stoning, his stoning first and then the representative once it is done, or he should split it, like remember the way we said the qada, you can stone first on your behalf the small one, and then you can, after gap, you can stone for the represent the one whom you are representing, then go to the middle one. Same sequence, same method, two methods we mentioned. So should I do the number one method? I do mine, small, medium, large, and then leave a gap and then do the representatives? Or should I be doing the, or can I do like, I pelt the small one for myself and then the small one for on behalf of representative, and then I go to the next one, I pelt the small, a medium one for myself and leave a gap and do the medium, and the same thing in Jamrat al-Aqaba. Okay, he says both are okay, both are okay. Yeah, so the question is a little bit, sometimes its pronouns are a bit confusing, but when you continue the ruling, the question, you realize, oh, it's not like the naib and they both want to do. No, it's the one who's going to represent. He is going to do his, and the one whom is he's representing. So hopefully in English, this is written in a clear English, right? Because in Arabic these pronouns are very misleading sometimes. So yes, so he says that it is permissible for him to use any of the two methods, either first his all and then the knives, or uh, segment by segment on his behalf and the naib's behalf, leaving gap. That's important. Okay, question number 12. He, if a person stones some of the stones, he pelts some of the stones, and then he exits due to the pushing, the battle zone, due to the pushing and crowd and extreme crowd, and he was not able to go back into that zone, dangerous zone, okay, by himself. So he appointed somebody immediately to stone on his behalf. So the question is, should the representative continue the remaining stones, or should he do the whole seven on his behalf? So he says that on the basis of obligatory precaution, he needs to do the seven, complete seven stones, and he makes the intention that these seven are to complete the general intention. If they are, if that person was required for remaining, so this has these seven as the remaining stones and the extra is gone. And if he is required to do the whole thing, then these seven are there. So it's a precautionary measure to have inclusive intention, that it's inclusive. These seven stones are inclusive to those remaining. If the remaining were valid, then these are continuation. If those who he stoned were not valid sufficient because of the disruption, then these are seven. So it's a general intention, inclusive to both. We call it tamam wal itmam, or ikmal wal i'ada. So completing and redoing, completing or redoing. Yeah. So he said seven stones full. Question number 13. If a person uh, who threw, again, it's a follow-up type of question, or it's almost same question. If someone threw a few stones and then he was not able to complete, he was unable to complete, and appointed someone, so will that should that representative complete or redo the whole thing, seven stones? He says obligatory precaution is to throw seven stones with the intention of completing or redoing. Okay? Completing or redoing, a general intention. Question number 14. If the husband was insecure uh, for his wife, uh, for going to the um, pillars to stone them due to the crowd of the men, okay, so is that sufficient for him to represent her in in stoning. He doesn't want his wife to be squeezed in the crowd of men from everywhere, like okay. So, and it happens, too much crowd and women in between, subhanallah, in front, inside, all surrounded and squeezed. So that's why it's better that the mahram, somebody is, it's not mahram, if it really is going to cause serious hijab issues, then it is obligatory that someone escorts her. But here the question is not about escorting, okay? The question is about stoning on her behalf. He doesn't want her to go in that crowd. So the criteria, what is the criteria? Can I just represent her? Okay, take her representation and just do on her behalf. He says the criteria is that the wife is satisfied. So who should be satisfied? The wife is satisfied. No one will touch me. No one can dare touch me. If somebody tries to touch me, I'll just remember, like some of those Turkish HAJJiyat, elderly women, they come with the full strength. I don't know whether they eat proteins or drink proteins, milkshakes, or before they come for Hajj, mashallah, they're very muscular. Don't you come close to them, otherwise you'll be kicked, your ribs might be broken. So that kind of, so if let's say the wife said, no, I am able to go inside and I'm going to kick their heads if they try to touch me or come close to me. Okay, so she can find her way inside. She's satisfied. Husband is not satisfied. Whose satisfaction should we take? The wife's or husband's? He said, al-ibratu. The criteria is the satisfaction of the wife, not the husband. Okay? If she is satisfied uh, that she will not be able to do the rummy without the rubbing of or the friction between the touching of the men around her in a haram way. Okay, so there could be touching, but it's not haram, like unintentional touching, not in these sensitive parts, just like elbows, sides, you see, but not in sensitive parts, you see. uh so but if she's not satisfied, no, 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 no. I'm no. She's satisfied that no, in that crowd, my whole body will be touched in a way that it could be haram touching. Then on the basis of obligatory precaution, okay, to combine, if the wife is satisfied that haram touching will happen, uh, or haram friction and rubbing will happen, then she should uh, combine between what? Between appointing a representative, like the husband does the stoning, and and also uh, to stone from the top floor, the extra part from the top floor. So like Jamrat al-Aqaba, I showed you in the clips, they've made layers. So from top floor you are not allowed to stone. Okay. So he said that if that's the case, and that's very unlikely, because the wall has been stretched, and you have sufficient time before sunset that you can go there and easily strike those stones. But let's say if that's the case, and it was too crowded, even in that time, there was no time, other time than that, and the husband was satisfied that there is going to be haram touching, but the wife said no. There's not going to be, nobody can dare. So it's not the satisfaction of husband, but the wife was satisfied. No, no, no. If I go inside there, no, 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 no. I don't want to be touched. So because she sees that other women, their bodies touched from all the sides, like around. So she doesn't want to go inside that. She's not satisfied. She'll be touched, haram touch, prohibited. That means the sensitive areas. So, nobody will go and touch lust with lust, but touching sensitive areas is without lust is haram on the basis of obligatory precaution. Okay, so she needs to combine between the representation for the original pillar, which is down, and to go do the rummy by herself on the extra extended area of the pillar of the shaitan. Okay, extended area is gone up. So do both things. You gave representative, but to get that peculiarity that you did your rummy by yourself, you do from the top floor, but not at night. And question number 15 is a bit lengthy. I think it's all combining all the repeated scenario we mentioned. It's very specific about women doing rummy. Okay. Yeah, I think we should take this and then stop. It has 8 scenarios, but short scenarios. But then we can leave 16 for our upcoming session. Okay. Question: What is the responsibility of a woman in stoning the pillars of shaitan in the following scenarios? And there are 8 scenarios. Scenario number 1: if the crowd was extreme, okay, or severe, in a way that she would not be able to do the rummy by herself. However, there was a possibility that the crowd becomes lesser in a way that she would be able to. He says that's fine. She doesn't have to wait for this possible, say, probability. There's a minor probability the crowd might go down, not certainty. Okay, just pay attention, not certainty, probability. He said it's permissible for her to appoint a representative. However, later on, if she was able to, like before sunset, because the time ends on sunset, anytime before sunset, if she's able to do by herself, then she has to stone by herself. Okay, so yes, she can do it now with the representation. However, that peculiarity of doing it by self is there. So whenever she is able to, if it appears to her that she is able to do after that, then she needs to do it. يجوز لها الاستنابة إذن. It is permissible for her to appoint a representative. ولكن إذا ظهر لها بعد ذلك. However, after appointing a representative and that was done, if it appeared to her that she's able to do by herself, then it would be obligatory upon her to do by herself. Question number 2. If she realized that the crowd will become less, here that was possibility. This is knowledge. If she knew that the crowd will go down, like it will become less crowd, or that severe crowd, or there will be no crowd after this time of crowd, after some time that she knows that the crowd will be no more and she will be able to do by herself, then the answer, she cannot represent. In such case, she has to wait for that time when she is able to stone by herself. So that is also obvious. So first scenario was probability. Okay, do the representation, but if you are able to later on do by yourself, do by yourself. Second scenario, no, I know that there's a time that will go down, the crowd will go down. Then you wait for that time. Scenario number 3, if she goes to pelt the to pelt the stones, okay, pillars, and she saw that that the crowd was severe, and she became hopeless that this crowd will last until the end of the time, then obviously she will have to represent it. So the answer is it will be obligatory upon her to represent someone to stone on her behalf. So the first scenario was possibility. Do it, let the representative stone. But if it appears that the time there was some relief from the crowd, then you have to do it. Second scenario, no, you know that there is going to be a time where the crowd will go less. Then wait until that crowd goes less. Here, she's hopeless that it's never going to end, the crowd, okay? And I will never be able to do this. Then appoint a representative. So let's say scenario number 4, she appointed a representative, okay, in the daytime. She appointed a representative in daytime during the crowd time. Then later on, the representative did. ثم علمت. Later on she knew. The first one, she knew from the beginning. Here, after stoning, after the representative did the stoning, she was told that, oh, after 3-4 hours, like before the sunset, it is going to be gone. Okay? Then she has to come back. The answer is it will be obligatory upon her to come back, that she stones by herself. Let's say eve of 11th. She pelted the 3 stones. And in the daytime, the crowd was less. Answer, this is, according to my standards, there is no permissibility for women to stone at night. It's only for Jamrat al-Aqaba we mentioned. Okay? ليلا وغيرها ممن يخاف ولكنه ممنوع عندنا. He said those people who are afraid from the crowd, we do not support that opinion. Our opinion is daytime. Either person himself or herself or representative. Not at night. Night, say the Sistani doesn't have that. Eve of 11th, eve of 12th, no night. Scenario number 6. If she does the Rami, if she stones by herself, if she represents someone to stone, but she was able to do the Rami by herself. But she did the representation out of unawareness. She was not aware that she has to do. Ladies, they said, oh, we just let our representative do. Okay, then I'll also. So she was not aware. So she was unaware. And she appointed a representative. And the representative did the stoning. Answer, she must repeat by herself as long as the time is remaining. That means the sun has not set. If the sun has set and she realized, next day do qada. But you do it in a time where the crowd is less. Scenario number 7. She was able to she appointed a representative. She was able to do it by herself. But she did not realize the conditions. When is it that she has to appoint a representative? So the previous one, she was unaware about the ruling. Here, she knows the ruling that she has to, but she doesn't know when she has to appoint a representative. She knows the ruling. She thought, in any case, I can appoint a representative. So here also, repeat if the time is remaining. If the time is gone, next day qada. Scenario number 8, in the scenario where qada is wajib, can she do the qada at night? 11th day passed at night. No. Say the Sistani Damadun, no night, no ada, no qada. Okay, period. Other maraja might, they have, there are, but Sayyidi Sistani, no night. Daytime, you can't do it because the time of the qada is next day, daytime. So there's a peculiarity about personally being stoning, peculiarity about the time, daytime, and if not, then second day in the daytime, you do qada. 16 we are going to do inshallah later on. وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.